There we go. Hello and welcome to this very late edition of Australian Transformers Weekly, bringing you news from across Australia and some of the rest of the world. This is episode 192, and coming up tonight, there's been some new Masterpiece details released. I need to look back at the run sheet because that's not what's in the run sheet. New studio figures are on the way. While in the meantime, Australia got skipped for a good half of the waves. There's some more anime MP repaints on the way. We dropped that news, so that's not going to count. But we do have a lot more coming up on tonight's show, as well as a little live raffle draw of the TCCA May donation drive. But all that and a lot more coming up after this. Rusty.
It was after you burned for it pretty quickly.
Yeah. I need to get rid of that because I don't want to keep on seeing the fact that Hangouts is going away. I am Brad Ostrom Prime, back for 192. It has been a few weeks. Joining me with someone else that has also been away for a couple of weeks. Max, back from South Australia. You weren't blacked out in this time or low on power. You're just very busy like myself.
Just out and about doing stuff that maybe sometimes you'd rather not be doing. But hey, I'm here now and shows a pretty good week to come back by the looks of things.
It is a bumper news week, and we've had to cut a few stories tonight just because we can't sit here for 2 hours reporting on some of the stuff. But how's your Transformers week been?
It's been pretty all right. There's been some cool things popping up, so it's been good to see. Yeah, not too much. I've been building up for exams, really, so I haven't been paying all that much attention. But yeah, a lot of good stuff going on right now.
We're not going to get to new acquisitions tonight just because of how much news there is and the live draw of the May donation drive. Has any figures you've seen recently that you've thrown pre-orders on for or things you're expecting? Has your free AB arrived yet?
No, I think I'm getting the second run of that, which is not ideal, but I suppose I paid less than retail for it, so it is what it is. I don't know. I don't really pre-order as much as I used to, or buy as much as I used to for the most part. But like, what is there and coming is stuff I'm very excited for.
Yeah, I pretty much threw money down on Masterpiece Black Arachnia as soon as that announcement went up, and some of our local retailers listed it for sale. So
I do not blame you for a second.
Just quietly, there are two coming, so look out for the Christmas donation drive. There may be a Black Arachnia being thrown into the kitty there. Apart from that, I've fallen in love with BotBots. There's been a bit of a step along the way. We'll get to that in a later episode when we do some new acquisitions. But for the most part, enjoying BotBots. And I seen some of the studio series today, more so the War for Cybertron stuff, and had a look at Ironhide and thought, he looks okay, and then didn't buy it. I ended up buying a bike, so brought a push bike instead. So there's not a lot at retail at the moment that I'm looking to buy, and especially after some of the news we're going to get to in a minute with the constructicons, especially. But
there's always a better option nowadays, it seems.
Yeah, yep. Just got to wait a little bit, and that option presents itself. But Max, if you're ready, we'll get into tonight's show.
Jump straight into it. All
right. Forgive me. I need to remember how to do all this. Present. All right. Bot shots. This week, back once again. Kyle Kirkwood has got a nice image of a nice use of Masterpiece MP36 Megatron. Not a nice image of Masterpiece Megatron because it just shows how shit that figure is. But look at the gaps in those hips. You cannot tell me that makes that figure look fantastic.
Well, there's plenty of other things to make it look fantastic. I think I can live with the gaps in the hips.
Well, yes, those eyes do look fantastic, glowing. Looking.
How many years have you and I been doing this again?
We've been back and forth for a while.
Of this specific figure too.
Yeah. And before someone brings it up, yes, I do have it, but I got the KO because I was not paying for this figure. But it is fantastic and an iconic shot of Megatron doing the iconic prepare to die and such heroic nonsense pose. So congratulations, Kyle, your week 2 of June winner. Unfortunately, due to the competition being a bit slow on that, we'll be doing a mid-year draw for the first few months' winners at the end of the month. So there's 2 more chances of getting a draw for a figure there. I think we're going to give away a Voyager Blitzwing from Titan's Return, and that'll be it for the rest of the year. So we'll tie that up early and get some figures out to some winners.
Brilliant.
Rightio. First up, Max, I don't know how your local toy retailers have been dishing out figures, but they've been pretty slow here. And all of a sudden, in this last couple of days, we've seen a pretty quick and wild release of Wave 6 of Studio Series figures here, Prime and Rampage. But it seems Wave 3, 4, and 5 we've completely been skipped on.
Yeah, I feel like there's been things shown up here and there, but for the most part, there's been a lot of stuff which I know exists and I just haven't seen it. You know, I think past Brawl, there's been that Brawl and Megatron wave. There's been nothing, at least
The
around
Voyagers.
here. Yeah, past that wave of Voyagers, I've seen nothing.
Yeah, we got the it was only recently we got Shatter and the helicopter version of Dropkick.
Yeah, and I've only seen those 2 at a Comic-Con. Like, I haven't seen them in any physical stores at all.
Wow, they're really warming shelves here. We got a couple of the scrap metal Constructicon that I did pick one up, and also the Cogman and someone else.
Was it the other Dread?
Yeah, probably. So I didn't end up getting that Cogman because I found a last night Cogman Headmaster at Coles for $9. So I jumped on that real quick, really wanting the Headmaster version of that figure and a bit better paint job. But it's a shame. I think there's a few figures in Wave 4 and 5, especially that people are after. Bone Crusher is one I'd really love a second go at.
There's the refined Prime as well, which is like the third version they've done.
Yeah.
They've taken on one specific mold. They've taken about, I think it's like 4 stabs at it in a Studio Series line now. So I know a lot of people were chasing that, and there's been no sign of that anywhere.
Yeah. So it's really an online market at the moment. If you're collecting these figures and want to collect them all, online seems to be the best place to get them. Don't wait for retail.
Right. So I've lost my flow for a second. Right.
That's all right. There's a bit of a buzz coming through your mic.
Bit of a buzz.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to fix it.
All right.
I think it might just be my internet being shit. Sorry. I'm looking at buying a new mic though, so I'll see if that changes anything.
Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. I don't really care. That's all right. All right. Up next, War for Cybertron Siege, Ratchet and Blue Streak in-hand images. Ratchet clearly being a repaint and a slight redo of the Ironhide. I held the Ironhide today in stores. I could not tell you what's been remolded on this apart from the head. I'm guessing there's some shoulder remoldings and maybe something in the forearms, but I think for the most part, this is a straight up Ironhide repaint.
Yeah, I believe obviously the head, I suppose, but yeah, beyond that, it seems very much the same. I actually think this mold works a lot better for Ratchet. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but on the Ironhide, I think the colours sort of give you a vibe of the way the silhouette works. Or I think the lighting highlights a few more of the gaps in the mold, whereas with Ratchet, it comes off as it just comes off as a bit smoother looking, and it retains that detail, but it still looks more uniform. It's just like a subtle difference, but I think it's definitely better on this guy.
Yeah, I think here too, the fact that like you've got the flat white, then you've got the little bits of red here and there, and then you've got the blue window on his chest where the Ironhide's pretty much red, and then it's got a clear window on his chest, which doesn't really look that good. It does need to be a clear window. If I had a blue window like this, it'd probably look a little bit better. But we've also got Blue Streak as well, which looks a lot like the G1 counterpart, especially in the legs. Just how the back of the car, and you've got the back windows of the car on the front of his shins there.
But yeah, this seems like another one where, I don't know, for whatever reason, it seems to work better for Blue Streak because of the colours. I don't know what's going on there. It's a weird thing. It might just be the way they're traditionally drawn in comics or something. I don't know. It just seems to work a lot better for him. Maybe it could be also just the way it's photographed, but it's certainly, I think this mold looks better as Blue Streak than as Prow. I mean, the cannons on the shoulders, it sort of takes away from the look of having that really broad chest a bit.
I can't remember Prow at all now. Did he have those shoulder cannons?
No, he didn't. So,
okay.
Oh, maybe no. He. I don't think he did. But if they did, there would be the Prow ones, which were lower down.
Yeah.
In any case, like because his shoulder cannons are much more pronounced, it cuts up the massive smooth plane that is his chest a bit more, so it doesn't look quite as quite as overbearing on the rest of the figure. And then the same deal with the shins as well, which some people had issues with on the original Prow version. It looks like they've filled in a bit of a detailing on there, or at least like the color of the plastic has changed where it's molded onto, where the clear plastic is molded onto his shins.
Yep.
So it's less jarring to see just these massive great surfaces on him, which is a bit nicer.
Plus, I think he some of the colours, like breaking up that silver, the black, the grey, and the red. It's a lot better colour distribution on this, is what you get with a Prow, because Prow's mostly just white and black.
Yeah, I think so. It's just a bit more dynamic, and I think that helps sell the mold a bit more.
Yeah, photos there. All right. There have been some new photos coming out of Wonderfest and one of the other Tokyo Toy Show as well this week. A lot of stuff we've already seen. Hound we reported on last week. There's a new Beast Wars. What's the lion guy?
Yeah, the Lion Convoy.
Yeah, so he's been announced as well. Neither of us are really interested in him, and he'll be reported on later on when he's closer to being released. But one thing did catch our attention that, yes, once again, they are re-releasing and doing a repaint of the Plus version of the Datsuns, and this time it's smokescreen. More G1 accurate paint job in theory. New head sculpt.
Yeah, that head sculpt is what's selling it for me.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just... I think because the mold originally, like, they haven't had to change that much of it to smooth out the detailing. So it means that they just add that head sculpt there, which is, slightly more exaggerated proportions and a bit more expressive, and it just looks fantastic. Like, I'm surprised it adds that much, to be honest. I was really quite impressed with this.
Well, I was going to say, it nearly reminds me of an animated style where you just got that long sloping jaw and just how animated the face looks. Without going too far towards the animated style, of course. But
you're right. It's like, it's definitely G1 smokescreen, but I think G1 smokescreen was almost a predecessor to that sort of aesthetic that came later.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the smoke accessory?
I was going to say the accessories on this is a nice little smoke accessory down the bottom there, which I hope you could sort of plug into his tailpipe or something in car mode as well. But also, I can't recall the gun, the shoulder cannons coming with any of the Datsuns. That was a Dr. Wu accessory that you had to order.
God, I think this came out so long ago now.
Yeah.
Just when I was first looking at things, I can't remember. I think it varied between releases, and like some of them would come. There was a couple where it was like came as from Amazon Japan. You get the shoulder cannons. I'm not exactly sure. And then because there was also different colorways of Blue Streak, and then Prow had a US release, and so I think the waters have all been muddied. There is definitely variance with it, and because Dr. Wu also even when they were included, Doctor Wu still made upgraded versions. So it's I couldn't tell you for certain one way or another.
Well, I never posed any mind with them up if they come with them anyway, because it sort of takes away his peripheral vision a little bit. I suppose we've got some more figures. There's a good shot of the head.
Yeah, it's very nice. He's not going to look down much. I'll tell you
that.
But you do see what I mean, especially with that shot of just the head and the chest there. Like, having that head sculpted and smoothing out the chest sculpt a bit, it really sells on the animation accuracy in my mind.
Yep. They're the only photos we got there. Yeah, no, it does look fantastic. Coming up next, it had been reported a little while ago that we were going to get yet another redo of the MP10 mold, and coming out of Comic-Con Columbia, of all places, we got some images here of that Ghostbusters Prime, complete with roller being the Ghostbusters trap, the Slimer figure that comes with it. Prime's got the proton pack sort of thing on his back. The green windows, and he's got the Ecto 35 license plate in where the Matrix should go. Max, Ghostbusters Prime, something you're looking at getting, or just another redo of MP10?
Because I was never, there's never the biggest Ghostbusters fan, but as a figure, it looks fantastic. Just the way it's combined with two aesthetics, I wasn't expecting it to be, well, this lovingly put together, I suppose. I mean, in theory, I should have expected that because they did a really good job with the Eva Prime too. Making that feature so many of the old Evangelion motifs. But yeah, it really just looks like Prime out of a Ghostbusters universe. It's quite well done. And for any hardcore Ghostbusters fans, of which I'm not one, I'm sure they're very much looking forward to this.
Yeah, no, it'd be good to something to post next Ecto one. I don't really have anything else.
Yeah, I suppose it's not like I don't have much to say on this, but other than it looks good.
They also showed the Masterpiece Megatron from Predator Fallen there as well, which it's pretty much been released now, so I'm not quite sure why it's there, but
I think the smaller shows often get things a bit later, so you never get older releases coming through, just because it's more of a trade show type thing, I suppose.
Yep. Looking into some third-party news briefly, Fans Toys have got a Hulk G1 Brawn coming out. We've seen last week Warpath and a couple other figures. Max, what's your history with Brawn?
The character, I'd say I like him. I don't like him enough to buy a Fans Toys figure.
Oh, don't be like that.
I'm part of that weird subculture who doesn't like Fans Toys.
Oh,
but as a representation of Brawn, this looks fantastic. Character-wise, I've always loved. He's been one of my favorites ever since I was a kid. I was ecstatic to see him when he popped up in the Bumblebee movie. So he's always been up there for me as one of the better mini bots, and so it's great to see such a faithful adaptation of him. I would probably put this, at least from what I can tell right now, I put this over the Bad Cube 1 for certain.
Yep.
I'm not sure about the metallic green in terms of fitting in with a Masterpiece display.
Yeah.
But sculpt-wise and articulation-wise, he looks absolutely in line with the current state of Masterpieces.
He also has a secret Super Saiyan mode there, which I didn't realize he had in the film. Yeah, well, that's one thing with that metallic paint.
It is
just having to fit in with the Masterpiece sort of aesthetic. And it's one thing even with their Warpath, which Jason had talked about last week, having that metallic paint as well. It's just
it looks nice, you know, like as a figure, it adds something, but masterpieces nowadays have a very specific look to their paint. You know,
and
what I mean, like,
it's the cheapest paint they could put on it because it's bland.
no, it's like this specific kind of gloss. They've been doing it since Bumblebee, I think, where it's, you know, this. I can't really describe it, but you look in the older masterpieces like Sideswipe and Prowl, and they don't have that quality to them, even when they are painted. Whereas
Yeah,
the new ones, they're lathered in paint, and it's got this very really specific gloss to it. And these, I don't know if they're trying to replicate that, but it's just metallic. It's, you know, it definitely looks nice. It actually, in my mind, it looks nicer than the paint they use on actual masterpieces. But when the actual masterpieces are going for something so very specific, I feel like you don't really want to go for something that's so very specific in another direction.
yeah. Well, it's the same argument about getting figures cell shaded, or oh, I just had it now. It's gone. Cell shaded. No, well, even these, like you're looking to have a masterpiece collection. Even the other Fans Toy stuff, Hot Rod's not shiny. And then you've got their Galvatron that aren't. They're a completely different paint scheme as well. Um, it just looks weird. And even we talked a long time ago about War Dog with the veteran the battle damage version with the board holes and all that stuff. Fantastic paint scheme, fantastic looking figure. It just doesn't fit with any other masterpiece you put on the shelf. And here we got the same issue where they're sort of going for this more metallic. Granted, their sea spray is also a metallic blue, so all the mini bots are fitting in this metallic scheme.
Maybe they're trying to strike out on their own, but
yeah,
I don't seem to recall them doing this in many of their other figures. Like, I want to Google their
beachcomber isn't. Their beachcomber, all the beachcombers I've seen are the flat blue, and not.
Yeah, well, it's weird because I look at their Cyclonus, right, and there's a shine to it, but it doesn't come off as metallic to me. It comes off as looking like them trying to replicate that masterpiece aesthetic. Whereas these seem very distinctly their own thing.
This is definitely metallic paint.
And it's like, I can get it in terms of, you know, some companies do, with their masterpiece alikes, have tried to strike off and do their own sort of thing. Right, so, you know, DX9 has followed the, Studio Ox aesthetic, at least in some regards. Actually, I think that's actually just one of their figures, but, you know, Ocular Max does that for almost entirely. I can't actually think of any others now. Yeah, Toy World's doing their own sort of scale. Right, there is variance within the third party masterpiece market, but this is different because it's something that's so closely treading a line of fitting in like perfectly with regular Takara masterpieces, and then it's just choosing to go in a completely opposite direction in this one very specific area, and then it's just confusing to me.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And you can look at other stuff that's sort of going for movie aesthetic or something like that, where you're going to have metallic paint, but there's no metallic paint in the G1 cartoon or any cartoon except for Prime, maybe, just because of the animation style. But we've spent too much time on this.
We really have.
Yeah, I'm not looking at getting a Brawn. Fans Toys, as much as I do love their figures, Willis will always be my G1 Hound, no matter what Takara throw at me. This isn't something I need to get. And being metallic, it definitely is not going to fit in with anything I've already got. Something...
Yeah,
Oh, go.
Sorry?
No, you're right. Finish up.
Oh, you're moving on. Right, so, yeah, on that note, it's like, yeah, I can certainly see why a reason to be tempted by it. But, yeah, it's... Ultimately, I'm not a Fans Toys person at all, so it is just this one really weird difference. It's just... I don't know why. It's just this really specific thing. I don't know why they've done it.
but they're steadily moving along the mini bots, and we'll see what they have left to come out. I suppose Outback and some of those ones, maybe a Pipes, they got to come out as well down along the line a bit longer, probably about 5 or 6 years. The way they bring out prototypes and that, and take a couple of years to get them out to market. Just waiting to see if Takara beat them to the punch.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, that is the sort of unwritten rule of, if third-party companies start doing something and Takara's about to do it, but then it seems to not be the case with Fans Toys quite as much.
Yeah. Moving on, and holy shit, on one of the last episodes I was on, I talked about how when you see the Hasbro Constructicons in store, get them, because this is a maybe 2.5 year build of getting all these figures and creating a Devastator. And in 2 years' time, if you're looking for Bone Crusher, Scrap Metal, or any of the early release figures, you're going to be paying through the arse for them. But we have a new third-party company on the scene, Bumblebee, and they've released prototype images of their BB01 Split, which is Revenge of the Fallen Mixmaster, and BB02 Giant Axe, which is their Revenge of the Fallen Scavenger. And holy shit.
These came out of absolutely nowhere, by the way.
Yeah, yep.
And no one saw these coming.
Yeah, yep. And both figures look pretty good in both modes.
They just look incredible.
And this is the head and shoulders, I'll say, for the Devastator. And just
don't try and talk about anatomy with movie Devastator. It doesn't
work. No. As seen there, it's going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no, 1 to 7. So 7 pieces are going to create this Devastator. And thank you for finally including the wrecking balls. This, I am so on board with this Devastator. If it's shit, if the engineering's horrible, as long as it stands and holds together on my display shelf, I'll sing praises to it. Here we have some photos of the Mixmaster itself, Split, being able to transform into both modes. That's a fantastic looking alt mode, and the fact it's got mask on the grill instead of Mac is just another little nice callback.
It's almost looks like the same font too.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm looking at these and I'm like, I'm dreading the transformation on these, but also I'm fascinated by how these are going to work.
Well, just going between these two, like seeing the truck mode there, and then going into the head mode where the cabin must completely invert.
Yeah,
because
it does look like it, which is fantastic. Like, sort of, you see it sort of comes away on the sides and on the top, and I guess maybe the face section there is the top of the cabin. I'm not sure. It's incredibly hard to tell.
Yeah, it just goes to show how much engineering is going into these figures nowadays. We've talked about Unique Toys and some of the movie stuff before, and considering most of the rear of the truck is still intact, and we've had this much of a change between two shots, it's just fantastic. And then it can still transform into a robot.
The talent of these designers is phenomenal. However this turns out, seeing this alone, just working as it is insane. It would be an impressive piece of engineering if it was just a truck to a robot, right? For both of these figures, because this is the movie Constructicons we're talking about. They've got these insanely complicated and unconventional robot modes, and so going from those sort of vehicles is going to be a challenge to accomplish, as was seen with the original figures for these that came out back in 2009. And so for them to do that so well and also have them combine is just phenomenal.
Yeah, I'd be happy just with these alt modes on display, and then have a second set as Devastator. I don't need movie Constructicons being robots alt modes and Devastate at the same time. I don't think that's what come across in the film, and I don't think that's what was really happening there. There was a class of Constructicon. There was a few that was on a boat that went down to relieve Megatron. There was another class, another lot that were in Egypt, but that's the movie itself. Even Demolisher here, like, it's a little bit simpler just because of its size. And the fact that the tracks don't become the wheels like we had with that Voyager version, they just fold up on the back.
Yeah, it's really impressive looking, and I think that's going to assist it as well.
I love the rocket launchers on top.
It's a nice little touch.
Yeah, but just the facts, the wheels just double over on the back behind the mixer barrel. To
I don't know what's going on in that picture.
Obviously, the tracks don't spin because we've got little wheels underneath the tracks, which is a shame. But we can allow a couple of things. Yeah. And of course, here they got the Voyager, Voyager Deluxe.
Yeah, that's a Voyager Prime, so that actually gives a fantastic sense of the scale.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
on top of it.
This is going to be a big bloody figure, actually.
It's 50 centimeters tall, which puts it the same height as the Titans Return or the Combiner Wars Devastator.
Yeah, like for that scavenger to be that much larger than a Voyager, and then for that to also just form one small component of Combiner, like, this thing's going to be enormous.
That's the thing, though. That's just it's robot mode. when it combines back down into shoulders and the back of the head to hold Mixmaster, it's yeah. So there's going to be 7 robots in total to form Troublemaker, which is a fantastic third-party name for a Devastator. And all combined, it's going to be around 50 centimeters tall. But the movie Devastate isn't a tall figure. It might be 50 centimeters tall, but it might also be 50 centimeters wide. Like, this is
it's a maths thing, you know, where it's but you can't really quantify it by in that sense.
Yeah. This is going to be a brute, and because of this, I have scrap metal from Studio Series that is now going into my Last Night collection, because it is exactly the same figure as what we've seen transform when the scrapyards raided. So he's not a Constructicon as far as I see it, and I will not be getting any of the other Constructicons because I'm going full hog into this guy. We haven't seen prices yet. I don't think I care. These could be $100 each, and I'd still get them.
Yeah, I don't blame you. These they look worth $100 in and of themselves.
Yeah,
you know, I'm really, really impressed with these so far. I'm hoping the quality turns out all right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll wait until we see them with paint. As I said, I've got Kronos. I've got some other third-party figures that aren't known to be fantastic figures engineering-wise, and that they still look fantastic on the shelf. I don't transform my figures pretty much ever, so the engineering on these could be absolutely horrible. As long as I can get them from one mode to the other and display it, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, don't blame you at all.
Max, we brought up at the start of the show you having the Freehey Bumblebee en route. We've got some more photos here in hand of the DLX, which is that the smaller version? It's not the full size version, is it?
Yeah. So the deluxe is, like, in the 3A sense, is still a couple $100, but they're smaller than premium scale, right? They won't cost you the better part of $1,000.
All right, so they're a deluxe figure, and of course we're talking here about Blitzwing, Starscream, just to keep that argument going. But this may be my entry point into movie statues.
I'm calling him Ramjay instead. It works. What is he? What's the first thing he does? He rams into him. It works.
He's got bombs on the wings as well, so yeah. This looks fantastic.
I want to know if it's got a waist with a little, and if it has that, I'm probably going to buy it. That's it. That's the one thing that might throw me off because I need an excuse not to buy this thing. It just
and
looks incredible.
just having in scale there for the Masterpiece Starscream, just to see how big it is.
It gives you a sense of how many differences there are actually between the two Seeker designs, like the classic and the new movie Seeker designs.
Yeah,
Which I quite like actually, but it's not pure faithful. But it's not just a pure copy, but it's actually still faithful to that original design.
there's definitely a lot of similarities there. More so if we put him beside the a large Blitzwing. Light up eyes is always fantastic as well, and just being photographed like this.
It's the detailing that blows me away on this guy. The sculpting especially, but also just the paintwork, like this subtle shading all around him. It's just, yeah, it's amazingly well done.
Question: you're getting the B. Is it this articulated that you could have him laying on the deck, on the ground, being attacked by Blitzwing?
Oh yeah, like I've watched reviews of the first run of B, and the stuff people are able to pull off with him is insane. Like, I don't know if you've heard of stuff like Sentinel and Chemical Attack, but
Yeah.
I've heard him compared to them. Like, he's apparently not in line with the premium scale 3A stuff, which was traditionally like big, well detailed figures that were moderately well articulated. From what I understand and what I've seen in the reviews, that this guy is like beyond figure arts level posable. He's able to do essentially anything you want him to. Like if he was in a pose in the movie, the figure is as articulated as a CG model.
Well, it makes sense if they're making these statues that they can interact with each other. B127.
Yeah,
I won't say anything. Well, make sure you never do.
I love it.
Wow.
It was a short-lived moment of glory for Blitzwing, but he left a special. He was a special place in all our hearts now.
Oh,
That doesn't look movie accurate at all.
no.
He just took him to hell.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's a good-looking figure though. I do have to hold out hope for retools into the Cybertron Seekers.
It, with what we've seen of the molds on Cybertron, whether or not one was Blitzwing and the others weren't, some simple repaints.
You need to change out the wings and like there's like a lot of the small details, but for the most part, you could keep a lot of the sculpting and some of the panels on there. You could just leave as is because like the Cybertron scene was added later, right? So it's not like he's retooled. His CG model is based off of those Seekers. Those Seekers are based off of him.
Yeah, exactly.
So they bear a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
Especially like if you bring up like the CG model of Starscream and the CG model of Blitzwing, they're pretty close to each other. So it's certainly within the realm of possibilities. Especially if they were able to do Starscream and then because that he looked perfect on Cybertron, and also that Armada inspired thrust. The pipe dream of mine to see a figure of that someday.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as this guy looks, phenomenal.
Yep. And as you were saying about the Cybertron Steen and the characters there, Prime One Studios have started dipping their toe into the Bumblebee movie with Soundwave. I don't recall this looking like Soundwave in that video in the film.
He looks a bit chunky here, doesn't he?
He looks very Robotech or something.
Yeah, it's I actually I don't know enough about Robotech to say for certain.
Well, it looked very.
I suppose he
Japanese
would.
robot.
Yeah, he seems maybe a bit more detailed here. I don't know. It looks good. Don't get me wrong. I've got very little bad to say about him.
And the head, like it doesn't have the Decepticon emblem on top. Whether that was changed for the film or, but I'm pretty sure people seen that Soundwave in the trailer.
I feel like that head isn't accurate.
No. It looks too much like Prime. Does it not? Uh-oh. Oh. No, you cut out.
And there's for the show Soundwave and the Seekers, and I think it's based on... no. I'm hearing fine.
I'm only getting every... I'm only getting every second word you say.
Oh, Christ.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I've still got you.
Hold on, you just started coming back through for me now. Am I working again now?
Yeah, you're working now, yep. Yep, I can hear you again properly.
Working this. Sweet. I'm gonna stage an armed revolution. And some bloody idiots who got to send me, and I swear to God. It's not even going to be politically motivated revolution. It's going to be purely in spite of this internet. Anyway, where was I?
The head not looking like it should.
Yeah, so there's a piece of concept art for a money shot of Soundwave and the Seekers when he jumps down and they're all behind him and stuff. And in that concept art, it's weird because he's a lot thin. He's thinner here. So this where's my words here? So this statue, right? The chunkiness of it is in line of a movie, but the concept art is, he's a lot skinnier there. But on the concept art, he definitely has this sort of head sculpt. Whereas I feel like the head sculpt here it's different to the movie. So it's like they've taken a CG model from a movie, made that into a statue, but then based the head off of the concept art.
Which makes you wonder, because the movie is now a year. Oh no, this Christmas, 6 months, 6 months being out.
Yeah, I mean, we know this Cybertron sequence was done. At least a fair few of the big shots in it were done almost a year ago now.
Yeah.
And then maybe, I suppose we haven't really seen merch for any of the bots on the Cybertron sequence, so maybe licensing stuff for that only became available quite recently.
Yeah, well, that's possible as well. Ravage looks a lot like the dogs from Lockdown in Age of Extinction.
Yeah, it did have that sort of dog. It was funny because Travis Knight made a specific comment about saying, no, Ravage isn't a dog, Ravage is a cat. People working on the movie, but then he made Ravage look a lot more like a dog.
Yeah. He has a mighty fine codpiece. I think this is
as he should.
Yeah, this is just showing the interworkings, and it does have some exceptional detail behind these big plates and beefy sections. But again, how much colour is going to be in that detail as well? It doesn't say Soundwave to me at all, apart from that chest and the gun. But in a few weeks' time, we'll probably see this in colour and completely backflip on this decision. But again, Prime 1, this is probably a $2,000 piece, at least.
Yeah, Prime 1, it's like... It's going to be beautiful, but for a non-moving thing that costs that much, it's just no way.
Yeah.
I feel like if we're lucky, we should get some... at least some form of actual figure of that Soundwave. Because he had the largest role out of that Cybertron sequence beyond Prime B, right? So you feel like if they're going to make a proper figure for anyone, it's going to be of him.
Well, there's been some rumors, hasn't there, of the of those.
There was a in that there was a big leak dump from Studio Series a while back. I forget what it was. I think it was mostly just like constructicons, but there was a couple of deluxes in there. And the big things were a Leader Slug and a Voyager Bumblebee Soundwave.
Mm.
So maybe it is coming. We haven't seen any of those leaks come to fruition, but SDCC is around the corner. So if you want a big exciting reveal to drop at SDCC, I feel like Bumblebee Soundwave is going to be one of the best options for him.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. All right. As I said earlier, no new acquisitions this week. Max, man, you'll get on again. I've got Masterpiece, Megatron, Bot Shots, Studio Series, Scrap Metal, and a lot of other figures to talk about as well. Been able to get a few figures recently, and you had a few there as well you want to discuss. So we'll come back with that in a couple of weeks' time and talk about that on a bonus show.
We'll talk about if we're lucky.
Yeah. So for some TCCA business and getting to the feature of the show, May donation drive. Yes, it's now June. It sort of went from 1 month to the other, but we had 28 donors, which in a group of 3,500 is a little bit low. But anyway, we got 5 prizes here to give away. Masterpiece Inferno, the Zakara Street Fighter set, and the Takara Big Convoy, a little Megatron, and there's another figure in there as well. I'm sure there's 5. Where is it? Oh, yeah, G1 reissue Jazz as well. So apart from the Jazz, all these figures are brand new, mint in sealed box. So we're going to give some figures away, Max.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. I haven't done one of these in ages, actually. So
it has been a while.
We have a standard. Move things out. Do we have a list anywhere?
Yeah, well, it's only it's only the 5, so I'll just do it as we go. It's I can tighten up for the podcast. Yeah. All right. So yep, random number generator as well. We had 90. We got 95 tickets sold, so we got 1 to 95. Number 1 is 32. 32 is, and this is where we take the most time. Woody LW, which I know who that is. I just can't recall right now.
I want to say who it is, but I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm not going.
Yeah. So that's all right. I've got you down there as being number 1. Number 2 is 34, which I think's him as well. Yep, him as well. So we'll redraw that. Wow, 32 to 34. Thank you, number generator. Number 67 is number 2, and that goes to 67 is Roscoe Hagen. So you have the second pick in the draw. Number 3 is number 46. We're staying in the middle of the lot here. 46 is Daryl Anderson. 46. No, I don't need 46. I just need third. Winner 4, number 86. And we'll go to the very end of the list there. And I think 84, Michael Green is number 04. Thumbs aren't working. And lucky last is number 44. And that, I think, is going to be a redraw. Oh, no, Paul Hausler. The man we all got to see on The Price is Right. Price is Right? No, Family Feud. You are lucky number 5th. So, again, thank you to everyone who donated. I'll be getting these prizes out in the mail this week. And you'll be getting some minty new figures, except for Jazz, in the mail soon. Don't forget that we are now heading into the new membership season that's coming up on July 1st. we got 2 new membership cards coming through. We've got a couple of new membership like bumper stickers coming through as well. They're going to be part of the membership packs that I think people will like. So stand by for July 1st when all that stuff goes live. But Max, that's us for the evening.
Lots of things happening.
Hey?
Lots of things happening for the club, so lots of things to look forward to.
Yep, definitely. So in the meantime, that has been episode 192. Anything and everything we are about, you can find us on the Transformers Collectors Club Facebook group, and you can go over to transformerscca.com and the website and find a lot of stuff we're doing there as well. But until next week, which we might not be on for next week, Max.
See how things go.
We'll see what happens. We covered a bit of news this week. It's been very slow for news. Once we get to SDCC, news might pick up again. But until the next time we record, Max, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's been a couple of weeks. Glad to be back.
Yep. And we'll be back whenever we can be for another Transformers Weekly.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.
See yous.